Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, and Kakadash. Yahweh be in the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shah be in the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now we can look at this great city, and we're going to go to the scriptures real quick and pull out a verse that I rarely hear individuals use. Revelation chapter 17, verse 18. It says, "And the woman which you saw is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." So this great city reigns over the kings of the earth. It is greater than the kings other kingdoms of the earth, because that kings of the earth goes for kingdoms. Because when you look at what's Revelation 17 and 12, it's talking about the 10 kings, and it says, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as king 1 hour with the beast. So they are pretty much small kingdoms, I would say it like that, that make up a whole kingdom, because it's talking about the beast, which is really the whole kingdom. Now, let's get into it. This great city that reigned over the kings of the earth. Now, we're going to come back here and look at chapter 18, because 18 has some features that pretty much explains this great city. But verse 18 and 18, Revelation 18 and 18, it say, "And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this city?" You see, so it showed you clearly that this is a city that would be set on fire and would be burning, and people would be looking at this city, you see, seeing the smoke of it. Now, let me get another verse to just pretty much solidify or make a good case that this city is a city, an actual city. It's not the Bible being using a similitude or using some kind of allegory or metaphor. Revelation chapter 16, verse 19, it says, "And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell." You see, the cities of the nations is the same as this great city, because this city is a part of the beast, because it talked about these kings that reigned over the kings of the earth, pretty much all the nations. But the great city was a part of the beast, was riding on the beast, which was a part of one nation. That's why the beast was red, and in Revelation 12, the dragon was red. But let's go into the real evidence. Let's see here. Let's get the real evidence about this great city. Here we go. Let me shorten this up. Oh, let's put it away over here. Okay, it says America is #1 in what key fields the U.S. excels in. America may be losing ground in some areas to emerging superpowers such as China and India, but the U.S. is still number one in everything. Let that sink in. Number one in everything. From military spending to beef production. Now let's go into it and see what are some of these things and at what extent is this place, America, number one, reigning over these other kings of the earth. Okay, it says America, okay, that's the statement we just read. Let's see, the money. This is another thing I love to bring out. Not even using this situation here. Because when you look at the currency chart, it's going to show you what is the leading currencies of the world. But this one says reserve currency, the mighty U.S. dollar has been the unofficial world currency since 1944, when the historic Bretton Woods Agreement pegged all currencies to the greenback, backed by the world's largest gold reserve. These days, an estimated 61% of the world's foreign banks have their currency reserves in U.S. dollar, and 40% of the world's debt is dominated in U.S. bills. So that's powerful. 61%. That's almost 100% when you estimate. Then 40 is close to 50, where you can round that off. How they taught us in these American schools. Military spending. When it comes to the defense spending, America eclipsed every other country and then some. The annual, what did that say in Revelation 13? Who can war with the beast? Because the great city is the woman that's riding on the beast, and she eclipsed every freaking military situation. They got 800 military bases out of the 840. This is the evidence. The annual U.S. military budget stood at a jaw-dropping $732 billion in 2019, which represented 38% of the global spend. That's close to 50. That was a 5.3 rise on Americans' spending in 2018, and the increase alone was the equivalent of Germany's entire military budget in 2019. So 2019, Germany had 5.3% of America's situation. America got them beat by what, 95? Yeah, was 90s, maybe 90? Yeah, 95%, man. That's amazing. All right, let's get through this. Okay, arms export. This is another major one when you're talking about World War III and Babylon, the great city. It says America is also the world's biggest exporter of weapons by a long shot. According to 36% of global arms exports, meaning coming out of the country, and between 2015 and 2019, it sold 76% more than Russia. See, Russia is the adversary to America. They the opponent. They the what you call it, they the opposite side, they the opposite team, they the opposite aggressor. They the other main country that America is coming up against in war. So when you're talking about 76% of the weapons sold in the world America is disputing, exporting, that's a better word, exporting all these weapons to all these other countries. And Russia uh, ain't even close. They not even close. Even though Russia is arming most of these other countries in the East with nuclear weapons and nuclear warheads, um, but these smaller guns, smaller planes, and missiles and stuff, America is supplying people. Cause Russia is number 2. So if they outbeat Russia by 76%, that's major. Now let me keep going. Medical research. In monetary terms, America dominates the field of medical research. The U.S. spends more than any country in the world on medical R&D, with total expenditure hitting $543 billion in 2017. So that's just ridiculous. Look at that. The last sentence. Although the terms of percentage of GDP, Israel and South Korea spend the most on medical research. So you got Israel, which is the Amalek, the top tribe that's controlling the whole beast. They teammates with America. It says South Korea spend most on medical, and see, South Korea is another territory that America took over during the Korean War in Vietnam. I'm thinking Vietnam, might just be the Korean War. Healthcare. They say both per capita in total, the U.S. spends more money on healthcare than any other country. That's all I need to hear. They got everybody beat. Look what they showing here now. You talking about the beast? This is major. See, this is what the beast gonna be pushing. Technology advancement. Switzerland may top the latest uh, global innovation index, and China is currently gaining ground, but America remains the world leader in technology. That's all I needed to hear. Look at what we seeing here: robots, AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, let's see here. Um, Rival countries may be vying for a piece of the AI pie. Okay, China was doing a little something. Trump signed the executive order launching the American AI initiative, demonstrating that the U.S. wants to be in the forefront. Okay, but it already made the statement that America leading in technology. You got robots. China just a testing ground for this beast, this great city. They use China as a testing ground. That's why China just got its independence in the 1990s, because they be having ownership of China and those other nations. They be telling these other nations what to do. Media, see, they controlling the mind of the peoples. They spending trillions of dollars to control the minds of the people. Them and the Amalek, Hollywood, see, with the movies. Then you got the money, the individual people, the merchants. See, this is the greatest merchant on the earth right now. People using his company, um, Amazon. See, did it say something about Amazon in here? Jeff Bezos, the richest person, because he got rid of Amazon. He sold Amazon. Okay, but that's what got him to that level. Stock market, we know that started with slavery, which is in Revelation 18:13. Let's see here. Going into outer space, that's Obadiah and Habakkuk. uh, Habakkuk talk about the angels gonna invade with their troops, their UFOs, and then you got America with this UFO space force. See, cause they getting ready to fight. Uh, that's Revelation chapter 12. Getting ready to fight with their angels, like the blue angels that's flying around America on certain days. The Olympics. America been destroying every nation in Olympics and any kind of sport you can think of. That's what uh I'll get back to that later. Olympics, higher learning. You see, let's see what statement they made. This Daniel, not Daniel Salakia. This is Ezekiel 8, Ezekiel 28 that talks about um that these people that's running this kingdom is wiser than Daniel. There's nothing that you can hide from these people because they controlling everything. Charitable, they giving away. Let's see what they're giving away. 2018, 400 billion in charity. Yeah, 400 billion in charity. We'll leave it at that. Animal ownership. See, talk about the roads. Beef production. That's uh Revelation 18 and 13 again. Cheese, the products, merchandise. They number one. Oil. That's Revelation 18 and 13 again. Oil production. Merchandise of oil, selling oil. Look at that. Let's see what they say. 17 million barrels per day was being sold by this great city. And Russia and Saudi Arabia uh is the only competition for America. Russia and Saudi Arabia. Nuclear power. 800 billion kilowatts of electricity. The industry is estimated to be worth 37 billion. And America is on top of that situation. World is that the U.S. is the world's leading producer of nuclear power. Come on, man. Cosmetic. That's Revelation 18 and 23. The medicine. The medical situation. Fast food. That's Second Ezra 16. That these dragons gonna have cheap food all over the place. So America is the one. America is this great city, man. This is not no let's get this on the screen. This is not no random thing that these people talking about, the Vatican City. The Vatican City ain't got nothing. It's not great in anything. You just can't say something is great. It really got to be great. And they not producing nothing. They got no merchandise coming out of the Vatican City. And false religion ain't pushing nothing either, because these other religions, Buddha, Hindus, and Jehovah Wickedness, and Muslims, they not requiring any wealth other than they getting donations from these people, and that's chump change. They're in the small billions, and the one that's in America is in the billions. But these other countries, they probably ain't got producing nothing when it comes to their religions. So it's no empire of false religion, and it's talking about merchandise. You got to be insane. But this is what the Babylonians, this is what the greats, the inhabitants of this great city will tell you. Now let's go to Revelation 18 and 13. Because all these products was just stated. You had oil. Now wine is another thing. Let's see what wine was about. Let's get the wine before I close out. Wine showed you. Oh, let's see here. Link up with America. Hold on. It say verse 3. It say, and they cast lots for my people and gave a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. So they was doing these, slavery was because of wine. And that's what Revelation 18 and 13 was talking about. It was getting to the merchandise of slavery, and it started, well, it didn't start off with that, but wine was one of the major points that they was producing out of this slavery. It says wine and oil, okay. It says beasts, that's why they're selling dogs and cats. It's number one in selling dogs and cats, and horses, and sheep, lamb, and cows, and chickens, and all this. America is number one. Now, chariots, the car dealership and cars started here in America. They was the most popular, and they selling the most in cars. Now it says slaves and souls of men. That's what we talking about with this great city, is talking about slavery. Then when you go to Revelation 13, look at this. It's now it tells you that this thing is identical to the great city, because look at what it says in 12. It says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So this two-horned beast that was like a I mean, you can call it a beast. Yeah, it said, let me read it verbatim. It said, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. See, this two-horned beast is the great city. And the reason they gave it two horns, because the elite bankers, they really control America through the Federal Reserve and through the banking money system. They control America, you see, through that Federal Reserve. And then it says, verse 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast. You see, and then let's jump now to verse 14. It say, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of the miracle which he had power to do inside of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, they should make an image to the beast, which had the womb by a sport and did live. So pretty much, man, this is the great city, America, and this great city is clearly exposed in the pretty much in these last days. And this is, let's get this conclusion of this great city. Go back to Revelation 18. It ain't gonna be no happy ending for this great city now. Okay, let's go back to 17 at the end. It says in verse 14, and these shall make war with the Lamb. Okay, so it's gonna be some people from this kingdom, a part of this beast, that's gonna go war with the Lamb. And they not only gonna war with the Lamb, but look at what 16 say. This is what else they gonna do. It say the 10 horns which thou saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which is that great city, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. See, then when you get to 18, let's get straight to the point. Verse 8, it say, therefore her plague, talking about the great city, her plague shall come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she shall utterly be burnt with fire. That's why they say they saw the smoke of her burning this great city in a short period of time. And this is the short period of time we seeing through this pestilence. You're going to have famine coming through the pestilence. You got people mourning and dying due to the pestilence. and the economy is being destroyed due to the pestilence. So when they finally destroy this place, they gonna be mad about how much money they was making with this great city, because America is number one in everything. America is number one in everything. The great city is number one in everything. Google it. That's what Revelation 17 and 18 is talking about. Revelation 16. It's not calling it a great city for nothing. It's great because it's number one in everything. But I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, descendants of slaves, uh, scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.